So this first devlog will be a little different than future episodes. Normally, I will try to capture some footage each day and typically try to explain what I'm working on as I'm working on it. But for this week, I'm going to primarily focus on getting you caught up, as I've been working on Shadowwood for a couple of months now. So first of all, what is Shadowwood? Shadowwood is really a game of exploration. You and 4 other people can team up to search for a missing girl who got lost in the woods. In the woods, you'll search for items, solve puzzles, and fight off supernatural creatures. That's the end goal. What you'll see me working on over the next couple of weeks is building toward a smaller goal of making playable test builds in a much smaller area. The idea is to work on the mechanics of things in this environment, get test builds out to players who can play around, find bugs, and help get things ironed out on a smaller scale before incorporating all these things into the full game. So with all that said, where are we at? The tools I'm using include Unity as the game engine, Maya for animation and some modeling, and I've just started using Magica Voxel, which I will be using to make most of my models going forward. Working in Unity, I have VR set up right off the bat using Steam VR. I've built a load-in, load-out system for static objects in the full Shadowwood Valley map, and I should have all game objects and actions synced across the network. Though admittedly there are probably some hiccups in there I just haven't found yet. I have a bunch of basic scenery including rocks, trees, and grass, and I'll be looking to add more and improve some that I already have in the near future. There is currently one enemy, the werewolf, who actually won't in all likelihood be in the final game. The werewolf was the very first thing that I made for this before I knew exactly where I was going with it. Since I made him, I've made the decision to have unique supernatural creatures, rather than using ones from existing lore. But since he already exists, I may as well use him for testing purposes. I have a fully functional inventory system from which you can equip, unequip, reload, and combine certain items. Speaking of items, the current roster includes ammo boxes, batteries, pistols, flashlights, torches, axes, knives, medkits, my personal favorite, the hunting rifle, and an assortment of different colored ferns. The ferns are the foundation of what will be the magic system. Magic will happen when you use a torch to light up an altar and add an offering into the fire. You can change the color of the flame by adding ferns as offerings. You would then add a specific item as an offering. For example, the heart of a specific monster, and depending on the color of the flame, different magical events might occur, like the opening of a portal, boosting the max health of the players, or turning the player into a monster. Not all magic will be good, and part of the fun will be experimenting with it. There are currently 2 playable characters, Sergeant Calder and Betty Poyle. I'm hoping to have closer to 10 characters by the time of release. Calder is the most complete of the 2, which is why that's all I've shown so far, but I actually spent last night working on Betty's animations, so I'm going to import them into Unity now and get started on getting her up to speed. Well, I imported the animations, but you can see here on my first go there was a slight problem. I fixed that issue, but I've still got a snag. I'm going to need some more animation for Betty. The problem here is that when Betty moves, her hips are rotating, and when I'm overlaying a weapon animation over the top of her walk or run, her upper body does not adjust for her hips rotating. So her upper body is just getting thrown around by her hips. It's fixable. I'm just unfortunately going to need more animation than I realized. I'm going to close out this devlog for the week. Next week I'll focus more on the specific tasks I'll be working on, rather than the big picture like I did in this video. You can see here a to-do list of things I'd like to get done for the first test build that I release. Hopefully I'll have a few more scratched off for next week's video. See you then!